Welcome, high school basketball fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for a special boys basketball regional scoreboard show. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and coming up, I will go over all 32 regional games played Saturday at 16 sites across the greatest state in this union. As I do, going from Class A to Class A, I'll speak with Grant Shouse about the 3A regional at Logansport between New Haven and West Lafayette, and the 2A regional at Frankfort between Oak Hill and Benton Central. Yes, he went to both. Yes, he is certifiably basketball nuts. Rob Hunt of the Herald-Bulletin witnessed Lapel beat Blackford at Lapel, and Elijah Poe, who was at the Greenfield Central Regional, watched Liberty Christian win their third straight Class A regional crown. And Michael Hogg was at Southport and talked with the victorious Luke Ertel of Mount Vernon after the Marauders' overtime win over Pike. So much to get to. But before we do, I want to tell you about my new daily podcast called Greg and His Friends Talk Sports. Every day, my friends and I talk about whatever Central Indiana sports fans are talking about, whether it's the Pacers, Fever, Colts, IU, Purdue, IndyCar, local colleges, national sports, and of course, high school sports. If Central Indiana sports fans are talking about it, then so are we. Please check it out every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report. We start in Class 4A in the North and at Michigan City, where number 2 Crown Point improved to 23-1 with a 54-35 win over Chesterton. UIC recruit Dembe Shaw 33 points for the Bulldogs in their third straight regional championship. They have never won a semi-state. At Plymouth, it was number 6 Northridge 73-67 over reigning 3A state champion South Bend St. Joseph. The Raiders are now 25-1. The loss ends the career of Notre Dame recruit Nick Shrewsbury, the son of Notre Dame head coach Micah Shrewsbury. At Logansport, Homestead beat Harrison 56-38. Junior Mac Welker 25 points for the Spartans. He was 10 for 12 from the field and had 9 rebounds. Homestead forced 9 first-half turnovers and led 30-15 at the break. A week after Carmel stunned number 1 Fishers, Snyder stunned number 10 Carmel 54-46 at Newcastle, the Panthers' second regional championship ever. Their only other one was their 2009 state runner-up team. In the South at Southport, number 4 Mount Vernon beat number 3 Pike 57-54 in overtime. The Marauders and Red Devils played twice this year, and both games ended up in overtime. The two teams split the games, with the Marauders winning the one that counted on Saturday. Future Purdue Boilermaker and probably Mr. Basketball Luke Ertel, 34 points for the Marauders, and he spoke with Michael Hogg after the game.
I'm with Luke Ertel, who scored 34 points today. He had to shoot free throws late to tie the game. Tell us about your performance as a team today.
Crazy. I mean, there was no shot we could win this, from everybody, and then to blow it out. It's just awesome feeling.
You guys had a big lead, got out early against Pike, and then they made a run, they got the lead and stuff like that. What did Coach say to you guys to say, hey, settle down, where's that out of this game?
We just felt like we could break them down defensively, and if we kept on moving the ball, eventually they didn't want to guard, and we were fortunate to get some stops.
What was the difference in your opinion from the first time when you guys met back in January?
I mean, not really that much, except we were missing our second best player in Max, who's 6'8", and can do everything on court, and that was unexpected.
All right, looks like you guys might play the winner of the next game between Decatur Central and Lawrence. What do you know much about them, if at all?
I haven't watched any film on them. I know they're going to be great teams to play. I'm just going to worry about this game and celebrate with my guys.
Yeah, you guys had a couple mistakes you got to clean up, but what thing you might have to clean up next week for the semi-state?
I mean, we're just going to have to guard, and we're really going to have to just play our game now, like our chances.
All right, Luke Ertel, 34 points.
Thanks so much to Michael Hogg for providing insight all day and for providing the audio of Luke Ertel. He saw a good one. Mount Vernon will be joined in the semi-state by number 7 Terre Haute North, number 9 New Albany, and Decatur Central. At Southport, Decatur Central beat Lawrence Central 73-60. The Hawks are now 20-6 and the last remaining public school in Indianapolis in any of the 4 tournaments. And it's the first regional championship ever for the Hawks. At Southridge, number 9 New Albany beat Castle 80-44. The Bulldogs now 22-5, their first regional championship since the Romeo Langford Shawnees days. At Greencastle, Terre Haute North beat Columbus North 62-54 for back-to-back regional championships. The Patriots are now 24-3. They trailed 27-20 at the half, but took the lead in the third quarter on a 10-0 run. Gavin Wolfel, 23 points in the win. Saturday at 2 o'clock, the IHSA will announce where each of the semi-states will be played and who the first round matchups will be. The 4 teams in the 4A South semi-state have 91 combined wins. Class 3A in the North at Newcastle, Delta did it again, 40-30 over number 12 Fort Wayne Blackhawk. Delta becomes just the 10th program in Indiana history to win 4 consecutive regional championships. The Eagles jumped out to a 7-0 lead and never trailed. They held the Braves to their lowest offensive output of the season with 30 points. Ryan Lynch led the Eagles with 12 points. At Logansport, New Haven won its first regional championship ever, 64-49 over number 9 West Lafayette. And our guy Grant Shouse went just for the heck of it.
And Grant, just a little out of our coverage, but over at Logansport this afternoon, impressive performance by New Haven, and you were able to see it.
Yeah, I was there. Went from Logansport to Frankfort. Fun day. Really enjoyed it. Started my day off at Logansport where the 16-16 game after one, and then the second quarter was the difference where New Haven outscored West Lafayette 19-5, kind of broke it open, and didn't really look back after that, Greg. I mean, they were able to really control the game, and they made plays. Deuce Baskerville is a great player for New Haven. He's a great guard. They're very athletic. West Lafayette was, again, they're probably more disciplined, but definitely New Haven was more athletic and just better skilled than West Lafayette. New Haven won their first regional championship in program history.
Yeah, amazing. And that one kind of shocked me. I really thought not only could West Lafayette win this one, I thought they might have a chance to win next week as well.
I thought so too, to an extent. I definitely, New Haven put a different perspective on it. There's no doubt about it. They played really well. And they're going to be a contender next week in the 3A North, which is now with Mishawaka Marion getting beat.
I have no idea.
3A North is wide open.
No idea who's going to win that. I think it's 4 very even teams. It's just who comes to play that day.
Yeah, it's going to be really competitive. If you're a fan, that's probably the one to go to. Just in terms of it's wide open, it's going to be competitive.
Staying in the 3A North at Plymouth, Columbia City beat Hanover Central 55-33. The Panthers actually scored 15 more points than they did last week when they won the sectional championship. At Michigan City, East Chicago Central beat Mishawaka Marion 78-74. The Cardinals overcame 38 points from Prescott Horvath and a triple overtime a week earlier in the sectional championship to advance to the semi-state for the 7th time. 3A in the South at Martinsville, it was number 3 Cathedral 69-67 over number 10 Brebeuf. Future Detroit Titan Keaton Aldridge scored 22 points and made a layup with 1.9 seconds left to win it. The Irish are now 22-5. At Greencastle, number 16 Ron Colley beat number 4 Northview 54-47. The Royals overcame an injury to leading scorer Connor Kessler with strong performances from Will Hegwood and Luke Feldman. At Southwood, number 1 Silver Creek beat number 13 Batesville, and number 2 Princeton beat Bossy 74-60. Silver Creek beat Batesville 92-77, and all indications were the Bulldogs played about as well as possible and still lost by 15 points. That Silver Creek team might be a juggernaut. Class 2A, we start in the North at North Judson. Number 3 Westview defeated number 7 Gary 21st Century 63-59. Junior Austin Schleybaugh had a career-high 33 points for the 24-1 Warriors. At Huntington, Fort Wayne Luers defeated Bremen 55-51. A late run gives the Knights their first regional title since 2017. At Frankfort, number 2 Oak Hill beat Benton Central 75-56 and are now the lone remaining CIC team in the tournament. Junior Jay Stonigal had 31 points and 9 assists as the Golden Eagles won their first regional championship since they won a state championship in 2018, their 10th regional championship overall. And Grant Shouse is back to tell you all about it.
Grant, I had seen Oak Hill and Benton Central recently, and the game kind of went exactly how I thought. Benton Central a little scrappy, a little better than expected, but Oak Hill really no problem.
Yeah, Oak Hill built a big lead early on, 11-2. Jay Stonigal hit a 3 and made it 11-2 early in the first quarter, and Benton Central called a timeout. I turned to my grandpa who does the scorebook for Oak Hill. I was sitting right next to him, and I go, this game might be over. Well, I was wrong. Benton Central really hung around. They were scrappy. Oak Hill went into kind of a lull where they went to sleep a little bit on kind of both ends of the floor. I don't want to call him their post presence. I'll call him most physical player. Luke Elzinga got in foul trouble and didn't play a whole lot. He hit a couple big threes in the first quarter. Jake Tonigal was tremendous all day. The one guy that really stepped up was KD Simmons, had 21 and led them off the bench today. So he was really good. He was great around the basket. Benton Central, kind of clawed back into it. They actually did it twice. Oak Hill got to the point where they were up 11 at halftime. And then in the third quarter, pushed it out and were up by 20 at one point. And Benton Central came back. I think a lot of people just thought, oh, they're hitting a couple layups here. All right, they got it down to 15, but whatever. We're going to get the ball back and go up 19 or 20 here. And no, Benton Central, they chipped it down. They got it down to 8. Their crowd got back into it. Their kids got back into it. But Oak Hill 8 was able to finish it out, hit layups down the stretch. It was not their prettiest win. It was their most challenging game so far in the tournament. Central gave everything they had. They are way better than 11-14.
That's right.
I was skeptical when I heard that because they were 11-14, but man, was I wrong. They are a really good basketball team.
At Lapel, number 9 Lapel beat Blackford 67-55. Blackford led 16-8 at the end of the first, and Lapel led 28-26 at the half before outscoring the Bruins 41-29 in the final 16 minutes. It's Lapel's 4th regional championship overall, and their first since 2016 when they won their 2nd state championship. Hope to have Lapel head coach Kevin Cherry on my new daily podcast, Greg and His Friends Talk Sports, later this week. And here is Rob Hunt of the Herald-Bulletin with a recap.
Well, Rob, what is it about Lapel you think that they seem to get better and better and better throughout the game?
I tell you what stood out to me and really kind of has the whole season is just this group of seniors. They've been, Tyler Cash is the one that came along in like 8th grade, but so he's only been playing with him for 5 years. But the rest of that group's been playing together since they were 6, 7 years old. And they just believe in each other. And even when they're dealing with some adversity early in the game today, their offense wasn't working. Sort of hitting some shots. They never panicked. Some of that goes back to you having your quarterback as one of your point guards. Yeah, the football team had to overcome. They were down 2 touchdowns against like an Indian Creek with 2 minutes to go in that game, and never gave up. Came back to win, and I think he brings some of that moxie to the basketball court. I'm talking about Devin Craig, of course. And,
yeah, I was watching the game with my wife, and I kept saying, "Look how bad Devin Craig wants to take these shots."
And I think you saw that from a couple of seniors in the second half, right? Luke Jones in that third quarter, he gets shut out in the first half. He's coming off the bench too, by the way, and Coach Cherry talked about that. We could touch on that too if you want, but hit, I think, 3 straight shots for Lapel. Kind of got them going. They looked tight to me in the first half, maybe some nerves, excitement about playing at home, that kind of thing. But he had a couple shots. Owen Garber was struggling from the perimeter. He made some defensive plays. Liam Coe made some incredible passes. And but I think it was Jones hitting those shots got him going. And then Craig, like you said, he hits those back-to-back threes, then gets to the free throw line, and he went on an 8-0 run by himself. And that's when Lapel got that separation. You know, I think they were up, I have to look at my chart, but I think they were up maybe 4 or 5 when that started. By the time he's done, it's a double-digit lead. And now Blackford has to go into that 1-3-1 press, trying to, get some turnovers, and Lapel is deadly against that. And you saw that. I mean, they got layup after layup after layup. And whether it was Owen Garber or Tyler Cash got loose underneath for some layups. I mean, nice. They just know how to attack that defense.
Nice basket late by Liam Coe, little shot over his head in their lane. And, yeah, they can just about anybody.
Yeah, that kid is an athlete, dude. Liam Coe, he was the one guy I thought athletically could play with Marion Leggett, who, if you haven't seen him play, get yourself to a Blackford game next year and give him a look. I mean, that is a legit D1 type player. 6'5", he can shoot the 3, he rebounds well, he handles the ball. Lapel really kind of did a good job on him for the most part. He finished with 23, which is 3 points below his average. But 3 points of that was a half-court heave at the end of the first quarter that went in.
Right.
And at that point, by the way, when that shot went in, I'm like, boy, this may not be Lapel's day.
Yeah.
Because they weren't playing very well, and then he hits that 3. And then I think he scored, I'll have to go back and double check. I think he scored 4 or 5 points there in the last couple minutes when the outcome had pretty much been decided. So really, Lapel did a nice job. And Coe is an athlete that can deal with him. Even though he's a little undersized, he's one of those top receivers for that football team. He's got the athleticism. He could jump. I mean, he can play some good defense against a guy like Leggett. Coe played very well.
I think I used this phrase a couple of times coming into this week, but every game in the sectional started just a little slow, and then as the game goes on, they just impose their will the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I think the one exception to that might have been the Sheridan game when both teams came out shooting like crazy.
Right.
Once they get into a rhythm and you start seeing a couple threes go down, they get to the free throw line. They're very good at the free throw line, which is big in these games. And I think playing at home helped. But I think I think these seniors, they just trusted each other. They believe in each other. There's never a panic. No matter, there's not going to run into many situations that these 5 guys have not played in at some point in their lives. And whether it's coming from behind, maybe a kid is injured, they've had to deal with that a little bit this year. They are able to deal with those situations.
And now ahead of them is a semi-state that is going to be loaded.
Yeah, we're going to have fun in the North semi-state and the South semi-state for 1A. I mean, are you kidding me with some of these?
What are you hoping for location-wise?
For me, obviously, I'm hoping for the Lapels at Muncie and the Liberties at Newcastle. And
there you go.
Me and my correspondent save some miles. We'll have photographers and all that stuff. But the IHSA usually doesn't care a whole lot.
They do not. They do not.
So I'm not going to risk anything or jinx anything by trying to hope for both of those. I'll say, hey, can I get one?
That's right.
If somebody goes north or goes far south, we can deal with that. But it'd be nice to have one of those, or even Southport from Liberty would be a solid choice for us as well.
All right, Rob, thank you so much for your time, and we will continue to talk about these teams, hopefully, as they continue to win.
Absolutely, for at least one more week.
That's right. Thanks so much.
You bet. Anytime.
2A in the South, and my pick to win the 2A state championship. Centerville is out after number 4 Park Heritage beat the Bulldogs 66-46. Trey Schlesky 23 points in Park Heritage's 4th straight regional championship. At Greenfield, number 6 Triton Central beat Ritter 57-51. The Tigers' first regional championship since 1989, and Eli Sego 30 points of the Tigers' 57. At the Charlestown Athletic Center, it was Austin 64-42 over Forest Park. The Eagles hit 8 3-pointers in the first half. Grayson Roush 23 points to lead Austin. It's Austin's first regional championship since Anthony Winchester led him to the 2002 regional title. And at Seymour, it was number 8 Linton, 55-51 over number 1 Paoli. The Miners' 6th regional title in the last 13 years and back-to-back. And no one is going undefeated in Indiana high school basketball in 2026 after Paoli lost its first game of the year. By the way, Grant Shouse called that one. Class A in the North. At Huntington, it was Tri-County 44-43 over Fort Wayne Canterbury. The Cavaliers beat the Cavaliers for their first ever regional championship. Gabe Miller shot in the final seconds, won it. At North Judson, it was number 4 Triton 53-51 over Marquette Catholic. Back-to-back regional championships for the 23-3 Trojans. At Lapel, before the Lapel Blackford game, it was number 7 Monroe Central 64-48 over number 6 Southwood. The Bears are now 21-4. They were led by Luke Morgan's career-high 28 points. He led a fourth quarter run that allowed the Bears to pull away for back-to-back regional titles and the third in program history. And at Frankfort, North Vermilion upset number 10 Rossville 59-54 in overtime for that program's first regional title in 57 years. And it kind of came from out of nowhere. Class A in the South, number 3 Hauser beat South Decatur 74-54 at Seymour. Back-to-back regional titles for the Jets, who led 23-8 after the first quarter. At the Hatchet House in Washington, it was number 2 Bar Reeve 55-53 over number 14 West Washington. The Vikings now 25-1. It was surprisingly close, but I bet Bar Reeve won't miss 8 straight free throws again next week. It's the Vikings' 10th regional championship in the last 25 years, going for their 8th semi-state title in that time next week. Also at Washington, it was number 11 Bloomfield 46-37 over Northeast Du Bois. Blake Neal, 28 of the Cardinals, 46 points in the win. Bloomfield's 9th regional title and their first since 2019. And at Greenfield, it was number 9 Liberty Christian, 58-43 over Greenwood Christian. Their 3rd straight regional title for the Lions and 6th in program history, all in the last 11 years. And Elijah Poe is there for the Herald-Bulletin and is here with a recap for you.
Joining me now from Greenfield Central High School is Elijah Poe, working for the Herald-Bulletin, and Rob Hunt covering the Liberty Lions. A victory today and another regional championship for Liberty, Elijah.
Yeah, 3rd year in a row now. It's really impressive to see what they're doing with that program. But they really worked for this win. You know, they were down 15-9 in the first quarter and really had no momentum at all. And they really kind of had to grind this out against a really gritty GCA team.
How were they able to get it done today, Elijah?
Well, really, they've been doing it all season. It's just their defense. They are just incredibly quick. They're handsy without being too handsy. They don't really get a lot of calls on them. They're very physical, very fast. They run to the ball. It's kind of a coach's dream to see how intense they play on the defensive end of the ball, because they're able to turn that defense into the offense, and that's what really worked well for them today. And they were really led by senior Monte Diller. Even though he had 8 points and teammate Kendrick Martin had 13, that senior leadership, just him being vocal and being positive, was a very big turnaround for them to be able to get it done against the Cougars.
And we look ahead to next week, and you're talking about Bar Reeve. I guess you probably want to hope that Hauser and Bar Reeve get in the same side of the bracket, right?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where things draw out. I'll be interested to see where they're located, of course, because, selfishly, I don't want to drive 2 hours.
That's right.
But no matter what, I think when you look at a team like Liberty Christian, I'm not sure there is a lot of other 1A teams in the state that play the quality opponents like they do throughout the regular season to prepare them for this tournament specifically. So I think no matter where they're going to be placed at, I think they're going to be a tough out for any team.
That's why I picked them to win it all this week, Elijah, because I think they've played a schedule unlike anybody else in Class A.
When you're playing some of these bigger schools, some of these really big 4A schools that they play, their regular season honestly looks like a 4A school. Maybe a couple games that, they have to fill in those obligated 1A games. But regardless, they're not afraid to play anybody, and they're going to be a really, really tough team for anybody just because they are so explosive. They are so quick. Their defense is suffocating, literally. GCA had problems getting across the volleyball line pretty much all day.
And I will say this, Elijah, no matter where they play, it's going to be an awesome setting. Whether it's Newcastle, Southport, Seymour, or Washington, it's a great place to watch a basketball game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see where they're going to be at. Fingers crossed for Newcastle or Southport so I can at least have an hour drive. Maybe I go back to Greenwood, but regardless, just looking forward to see where they play.
Wait a second, Elijah, though. Have you been to the Hatchet House?
I haven't been to the Hatchet House.
Well, maybe you'll get a chance. Hopefully that they don't go from Anderson to Washington because that's insane. Elijah, thank you so much. And everybody, check out Elijah on my daily podcast. Greg and his friends talk sports. He's going to be talking some IndyCar racing, talking about qualifying and previewing the race on Sunday in Arlington. And then after the race on Sunday, Elijah and probably some others will be reacting to the race.
Thank you so much to Grant Shouse, Rob Hunt, Elijah Poe, Michael Hogg, and Luke Ertel, and to you for listening. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.